since they're going to deal with the findings.
We'll go ahead and call the July 12th regular meeting of Planning and Zoning Commission to order. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, welcome on a lovely rainy evening. Again, just a reminder, if you do have your cellular devices with you, if you could go ahead and turn them off at this time. Kelly, roll call.
Davis.
Here.
Kimball.
Yes.
Keen.
Here.
Carey. Here. Wilder.
Here.
Hampi. Here. Let the record show that all commissioners are present with the exception of Mark Latham, who is excused.
All right. Do we have any amendments to the agenda this evening?
Yes, we do. We received a request of the applicant to withdraw a public hearing, Tullamore Parkview PUD Amendment PA-16-01. So that public hearing will not be heard this evening.
Okay. Duly noted. Ceremonies, appointments, announcements, presentations, anything? Just a quick note, we do have two public hearings this evening on the agenda, and if you would, again, if you would like to speak, please fill out a comment sheet located at the back podium and get it back to Kelly at the front table for the public hearing portion of the agenda, and before we open the public hearing for which item you wish to speak. Declaration of conflict.
So for the consent calendar, I will not be voting on the findings for the Bluegrass Corner subdivision. And I think right now is the appropriate time to declare that I had some ex parte communications with regards to the T 2.0 subdivision. And it was regarding the access onto Hope Avenue. Mm-hmm. And it was because I was the engineer on the project to the south. So I met with city staff and the highway district out on site, and I can elaborate more when the time is appropriate.
Actually, let me jump in there for a second. The last Planning Commission meeting on Bluegrass Corner subdivision, the Planning Commission had asked staff to meet with the neighbors, do something to address the Bluegrass Lane, Hope Road extension. As Commissioner Kimball referenced, staff set up a meeting and went to the site, met with representative of the neighborhood, the two developers that are working in that area, highway district, and had a discussion about how to handle that. Thanks goes largely to Rob in the engineering department. He's done a lot of work on that. At this point, it appears that the highway district intends to close that road at the point where it leaves the city jurisdiction. It'll be gated. That's kind of where we're headed, so that's our response back to you, and hence Commissioner Kimball's ex parte communications with staff regarding what happens with the extension of Bluegrass Lane at that point.
Okay. All right. Duly noted. Citizen issues. This section is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission on an issue that is not on the agenda. Comments on the issues that are planned for future meetings, we would ask that you would hold those until those meetings take place. Is there any citizen issues to address at this time? None being seen. We'll go ahead and move to, let's see what we have next. Consent calendar. Anybody want to move to see a motion for that?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Kelly?
Davis.
Yes.
Kimball.
Abstain?
Hampi.
Yes.
Keen.
Yes.
Carey.
Yes.
Wilder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Any unfinished or old business to address at this time? Moving right along, then we are going to go ahead and get ready to start the public hearing portion. Again, if you would like to speak, make sure that you go to the back podium and fill out the form and turn that to Kelly at the very beginning as we get things ready to start. So we'll go ahead. Young Annexation A-16-03. We'll go ahead and call that to order. Tavis presenting.
Good Good evening, Commission members. Tavis Schmidt, planner with City of Post Falls. I'm presenting the Young Annexation proposal, case file A-16-03. The applicant's Young Construction Group. So the requested action is that the Planning and Zoning Commission is review the annexation request and make a recommendation of approval to the City Council, along with any appropriate conditions if necessary. The project's located about 1599 East Mullen Avenue. It's less than 5 acres. Currently, it's single-family residential in the county. The proposed land use and proposed zoning is community commercial services, so CCS. Water is provided by Ross Point, and the City of Post Falls has sewer there. This map just shows the surrounding environment. In the red is the subject property. It's on the very south and westerly corner of a large county pocket. That's up. This is all county area. Up here, the dark black line is the city limits. The surrounding zoning, so everything in red is CCS, Community Commercial Services. The yellow is R1, Single Family Residential. There is some pink, which is limited commercial, down the street to the west. And then this kind of a mustard yellow color is R2, which is a medium density residential. Everything in the white up here is in the Kootenai County, so it's outside the city limits. The proposed annexation, the property falls within the Post Falls ACI. It is an infill or county pocket area. The proposed CCS zoning is consistent with the conventional future land use map because it's within a mixed-use commercial overlay that's along Mullen Avenue. This map here, this is the comprehensive plan map. So the yellow is residential and the red is commercial. So along the subject property is right here. This is Mullen Avenue at basically the north end of the red. And it's kind of this gray shading that follows the north side of Mullen Avenue is a mixed-use commercial overlay zone that in the comprehensive plan it states that even though it's residential as designated in the comprehensive plan, that along here is appropriate for commercial or mixed-use developments. So that ends my introduction to the project, and I would invite the applicant to come up if they would like to.
All right.
Thanks, Tavis. Mike Paul, Freeman Smetana Engineers, 603 North 4th Street. So I'm the applicant's engineer for the proposed annexation. We've worked closely with city staff through the pre-annexation and the application process. And Tavis already covered a couple of the big picture things I was going to point out. The staff report does well summarize the proposed annexation, and it confirms the zoning that Tavis talked about. And it shows that the annexation is consistent with the goals and policies of the Post Falls Comprehensive Plan. From an engineering point of view, there's a minor detail in there that I wanted to get on the record, and that is the right-of-way that's to be granted was going to match all of the other properties that front Mullen in that area, and that'll be a 40-foot half-width. The reason why I bring that up is the staff report identifies 55-foot. Staff can confirm that too, but I did talk to Rob about that today. And so the bottom line is the right-of-way and the easement will be consistent with what's already been done, especially to the property to the west that it's adjacent to. Water does already front the project, so there won't be any improvements needed. Sewer also fronts the project, but there will be an extension needed that the applicant's aware of at the time of on-site development, just to get it across the front of the property. But it's already at the southwest corner. And John, did you want to say something also?
I'm John Young, Young Construction Group. We're representing the landholders, the Rainiers, and what we're trying to do is help them with their goal of having the property annexed into the city and being marketable as a commercial property. Thank you.
Any questions before we sit down?
Any questions for applicant? No. Okay. Tavis, you're back up.
Okay, so just going to quickly go through some of the analysis regarding the proposed annexation. So annexation procedure should follow the requirements set by Idaho state statutes and the city ordinances, and everything has been followed to this point with proper public noticing procedures. Zoning of land must comply with the City of Post Falls Comprehensive Plan and other master plans and facility plans. Like I briefly mentioned earlier, it is a residential designation in the comprehensive plan, but properties that are fronting on Mullen Avenue, there along the north side, it is a mixed-use commercial overlay district. And this is just kind of zoomed in, showing here the subject property, this time outlined in blue, with the kind of overlay cross-hatching there. The property immediately to the west has recently seen some development on it, and it is similar. It's zoned community commercial services, even though the comprehensive plan is residential, but with the mixed-use overlay. Land to be annexed should enable completion or continuation of pedestrian network. Currently, in front of the subject property, there is no pedestrian facilities, but upon development, there will be pedestrian facilities will be required to be provided at that point. So that'll continue completion and extension of pedestrian facilities. Timing of annexation should be coordinated so that we can provide following the master plans for water and sewer. This is an infill location, so most utilities are available immediately in front of the property or within the vicinity. Excuse me. Priority should be given to annexing infill pockets. They're surrounded by city lands and have utility infrastructure readily available. As I just mentioned, it's an infill location with the utility infrastructure is available, and this is also adjacent to the developing medical district. New development should be planned to foster the city's ability to provide public services at the current level of service. Staff comments are that the current level of service will not be impacted due to the infill nature of the subject property. Annexation study should evaluate environmental and public service factors regarding any proposed annexation. The area has been designated as a planned area of growth because it is, again, an infill project. And it will reduce environmental effects on the aquifer by connecting any future development on the property to city sewer. Upon annexation, appropriate zoning designation should be applied after consideration of the future land use maps, roadway classifications, surrounding land uses, and goals and policies of the comprehensive plan. Staff feels that the CCS zoning designation is appropriate and consistent with the properties adjacent and currently in the city. And the city should plan, protect future transportation corridor rights of way. So future rights of way will be required to be dedicated upon annexation. And like Mr. Paul mentioned, there's been a change from the staff report. The required dedication has been modified slightly with staff's analysis. The engineering division comments are requested zonings in line with the city's master plans and should not present any negative impacts to infrastructure. Mullen Avenue, its existing classification is a minor arterial, and so there'll be right-of-way dedication will be required along with some easements. Roadway frontage improvements will be required when the site is developed in the future. City of Post Falls has facilities in current capacity regarding wastewater to service the property and any future development. We received some comments from outside agencies. Idaho Department of Land said they saw no impacts, and Kootenai County Fire and Rescue had no objection. Do you have any comments or questions for staff?
No,
Questions for staff?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. Tavis, thank you. Testimony. Kelly, do we have anyone speaking in favor?
We do not.
Okay. As it is noted, there was a letter in our packet, so make sure that you saw that. Do we have anyone speaking neutral?
Yes.
Okay, Diane McCarroll, are you here? Perfect. If you go ahead and come up, state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same page.
There you go.
Diane McCarroll, 1014 North Syringa. I back up to that property just slightly. Right next door to this property is the Northwest Specialty Hospital, where they're going to be building 3 buildings. The only thing I'm concerned about is what they're planning in the future. Is it planning on more medical, or are they planning on putting in something like apartment complexes or 7-Elevens or anything? There would be a lot of people around that area. I'm not opposed to it. I love the medical going in. I think it's wonderful.
Excellent.
But that's the only thing that's my concern is what are they planning on putting in?
Okay.
Do they know yet? They don't know yet.
This is an annexation, so they'll get annexed and they'll get designated the zoning designation CCS. In that CCS zoning district, there's a multitude of different types of developments that's permitted outright. Some with a special use permit. So for example, the multifamily, currently the way the land use table is set up is that it's only permitted through a special use permit. So unless the code changes and the tone changes, that's the way that stand is currently at the time. But it's the vested rights of the CCS would go with it. I don't have a detailed table on me to know what all those uses are, but typically what you see down Celtice Way, the various uses that's mostly CCS. That's the kind of development you could see on the site.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right, wonderful, Dan. Thank you very much. Kelly, any other neutral?
We do not.
Any opposed?
We do not.
Okay. Do we have any rebuttal from applicant? Anything else to share? You say no? Okay. Commission, any other questions for the staff?
No.
None? None. Okay, then we'll go ahead and close the hearing out, and I will open it up for discussion. Who wants, Warren, let's start with you.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
I think it works perfectly with the master plan, and it takes care of some infill property into the city annexation, and it makes perfect sense for a CCS zoning, and so I think it's a real good fit.
Okay.
I agree. It looks like a natural extension of that zoning in that area, and I think it would be a good fit, too.
Yeah, it's great to see that county pocket finally getting filled up with city, and having commercial on a arterial just makes sense.
I agree. Nothing to add.
I agree. I think it's a good fit.
Okay. Good infill. All right, then, with that being said, I would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the annexation request A-16-03. Move to recommend approval to City Council with the zoning of CCS.
Been moved. Do we have a second?
I second.
Moved and seconded. Kelly?
Davis?
Yes.
Kimball?
Yes?
Hampi?
Yes.
Keen?
Yes.
Wilder?
Yes.
Carey?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Motion carried. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and open up T 2.0 subdivision S-16-02. Tavis, presenting again.
Good evening, Commission members. Tavis Schmidt, planner with City of Post Falls. I'll be presenting T 2.0 subdivision, file number S-16-02. The applicant for this project is Lake City Engineering, owner is Copper Basin Construction. So the requested action is the Planning and Zoning Commission is being asked to review the subdivision request and make a recommendation of approval to the City Council along with any appropriate conditions. The project is located to the west of the Tullamore development on the north side of Hope Avenue and west of Cecil, so northwest corner. This is the Tullamore development in here, and it's being developed to the north. So west is the subject property. It's approximately 9.54 acres. The current land use is single-family residential, R1 designation. There's a single-family house on it and no significant topology or vegetation. Ross Point Water and the city provides sewer. The subdivision is proposing 38 single-family residential lots. The average lot size is a little over 7,800 square feet. The density is approximately 4 units per acre. The zoning allows a maximum of 5 units per acre. And they are proposing some new streets, Arden Street and Calorie Drive. Both of those would connect directly to Hope Avenue. At this time, after I introduce the project, would the applicant want to come up and speak?
All right.
Good evening, Commissioners. Steve White, Copper Basin Construction. I guess if I'm going to hire an applicant, I should make sure he's available on public hearing night, huh? Anyway, this is the subdivision request of the annexation that you guys approved or moved on to council with recommendation for approval a couple of months ago. We were given the R1 designation. All utilities, services, everything are available to the site, and it's directly across the street from a new project that looks like you just approved tonight, so on your minutes. Pretty straightforward, low-density single-family. All the lots are above minimum standards, and it's a pretty simple layout, 2 new streets. So other than that, everything in the staff report is agreeable with us, and I would entertain any questions.
Any questions for Mr. White? None? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tavis?
So the surrounding zoning is in the yellow is R1. Further to the east along Highway 41 corridor is CCS zoning. And then everything in the white is Kootenai County lands. This is a drawing of the subdivision plan. We have Cecil Road on the eastern side. We have Hope along the south. And then Arden Street and Calorie Drive here with the lots circling around in these areas here. The analysis of comprehensive plan policies is that the proposed subdivision meets the policies and goals of the Post Falls Comprehensive Plan. Within the Post Falls Municipal Code, Title 17, there are 6 criteria that are to be reviewed for approval of a subdivision. So I'm going to go over those 6 criteria now. So the first one is a definite provision has been made for a water supply system that's adequate in terms of quantity and quality for the type of subdivision proposed. Ross Point Water District is the utility provider for this. Number 2, adequate provisions have been made for a public sewage system and that the system can accommodate the proposed sewer flows. The City of Post Falls has adequate capacity to provide service to this subdivision. Proposed streets are consistent with the transportation element of the comprehensive plan. So roadway alignment and cross-sections are appropriate, and there's going to be no direct access from lots to Cecil or Hope Avenue. Number 4, all areas of the proposed subdivision which may involve soil or topographical conditions presenting hazards have been identified, and that the proposed uses of these areas are compatible with such conditions. No soil or topographical conditions have been identified. The area proposed for the subdivision is zoned for the proposed use, and the use conforms to other requirements found within this code. The property is zoned R1 single-family residential. All the lots meet the minimum lot size and dimensional standards. 6, the developer has made adequate plans to ensure that the community will bear no more than its fair share of costs to provide services by paying fees, furnishing land, or providing other mitigation measures for off-site impacts to streets, parks, and other public facilities with the community. So annexation fees and impact fees will be assessed upon building permit issuance with each residence. We had 2 comments submitted. Kootenai County Fire had no comments, and Idaho Department of Lands said they have no comment either. This time, any comments or questions for staff?
Tavis, you said Ross Point contained the water supply, but you didn't say if it was adequate or not.
Yes, so we send out notification to Ross Point Water when the applicant, when we get an application, and we haven't received any comment from them. So at this time, we have to basically operate that because there's other properties that have been recently approved in the area and extensions of public water systems by Ross Point Water in the area, that there is adequate quantity and quality.
If it's appropriate for me to jump in here, I act as a consulting engineer for the Ross Point Water District, and generally their policy is that if they've annexed you into their district, they will serve you water. That is their policy.
Good to know.
So.
This is good news kind of a thing.
Thank you, Mr. Kimball.
Any other questions for Tavis? Okay, thank you, sir. Testimony, Kelly, do we have anyone in favor this evening?
We do not.
Do we have anyone neutral?
We do not.
Do we have anyone opposed?
We do not.
All right, and there would be no need for rebuttal. Any other last questions for staff before we close public hearing? Once, twice, nope, sold. Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll open it up for discussion. We'll start over
All
here.
right. I think that it's that it's a good fit. It's right next to a lot of residential, and it's really consistent with what's already out there as far as density, and so I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a fitting use for the property.
Okay.
I agree.
I agree also.
And I think thanks to staff and legal for clarifying the Bluegrass Lane problem where it will be blocked, and I think that really makes it a great fit for the city, and it also makes us good neighbors to the people in the county that we're not going to be imposing upon their right away.
Absolutely. I agree. It's nice to see these come through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that being said, I would look for a motion.
I move that we accept T-2.0 subdivision S-16-2 as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Kelly?
Davis?
Yes.
Kimball?
Yes.
Hampi?
Yes.
Keen?
Yes.
Wilder?
Yes.
Carried.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, so moved. Do we have any new business this evening?
No, there isn't.
No new business? Any staff comments?
None additional.
Words of wisdom? All right. Commission comments? Anything for the good of the order?
I would just like to add to what he said. I just appreciate how much work staff does behind the scenes so that when we come to these meetings that we have all the information that we need to make good decisions. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Much appreciated. Okay. If that's the case, then I would look to
Move to adjourn.
move to adjourn. So moved. We are